All right, guys, sorry, only going to be one video today. I know, promised 2 a day, but been absolutely crazy, been hectic over here. And this is why I'll let y'all in. Oh, come here, baby. Got a little puppy, so found out she had fleas. It's been crazy, having to take care of it. But we're going to jump right back into it. I'm going to start trying to get y'all 2 videos a day now. Time is limited, but anyway, in this video I'm going to talk about must-haves for your Dynasty League, setting up a Dynasty League, and that's really just going to be the beginning of the video. And majority of it, I'm going to talk about what you need to do to prepare for your Dynasty Startup Draft and how you're going to come away with pretty much the best roster and the players that you want. So first off, before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like. It's more important now than ever, especially with the NFL Draft coming up. Would really appreciate it. Also, leave a comment with any advice that you have that I may miss in this video when it comes to preparing for your startup draft or what you need in a league. But first thing, I'm just going to cover 2 basic must-haves for your Dynasty League. This is the only way it's really going to work. Actually, I'll cover 3. First off, your league needs a league chat. I know a lot of people don't have a Groupme chat, don't have a Discord chat, and just really plan on making offers through their platform and kind of talking on the platform itself. I'm going to let you know from experience that those leagues are not going to be near as fun as the ones that you have with a bunch of people on Groupme that you can direct message, that you can talk trades with, because it's almost impossible to get a trade done if you're just blindly sending offers and you're not really having a discussion. So that's going to be the first thing. You need to have a league chat, and as you're filling the league, you need to be putting members of that league into your league chat. And second, before the draft starts, everyone needs to have their dues paid. And what I mean by this is I know a lot of leagues go, oh, yeah, I understand. I understand that you're good for next week. You can pay me on the 30th or whenever it is. I'm telling you right now from past experience, yes, that's most likely the case, but it's very, very bad, and it's the situation you don't want to be in. If you give that one person a pass, then it's just kind of goes down and ends up giving everyone that same pass, and you kind of just lose all control. It's a lot easier just to say, hey, I'm sorry, the requirement is you have to pay. I'm going to have to hold her. She's going crazy. You're going to have to pay the dues before we get the draft going. We can't start the draft until everyone has their dues paid, but that's going to be extremely important. That's going to increase the longevity of the league. And what we're doing in the flock leagues, and what I'm finding is a lot easier than I thought was going to be. Nobody's had a problem with it so far, and really I think it's going to make the leagues a lot safer and make them pretty much last forever. If you're playing in a league in 2020, you have to pay a half-year deposit on the following year. So if you're joining a startup in 2020, say for our flock leagues, the buy-in's $60. You also have to make a $30 deposit for that 2021 league dues, because this is Dynasty. You're kind of making a commitment to the league. You're saying that you're going to be around. You're saying that you are here for the long term. And if you don't make that commitment, it's real easy for what we saw with the Flock 2. If you weren't in the Flock 2 league, it was a 24-man league, but we did not have this rule in place, and it was completely my fault. And then we ended up having about 12 people leave the league, and it was pretty much impossible for me to go in and fill those spots and try to get a massive dispersal draft going there was no incentive for anybody to join that dispersal draft instead of just start a new league. They were saying, why am I going to join a 12-team dispersal when I can just join a 12-team startup? And it's a completely fair point. So if you require that half-year deposit the following year, if an owner does leave, you can offer that team at a half discount. You can say, hey, the league dues are usually $60, but the previous owner put a halfway down deposit, so you're only going to have to pay $30 for this upcoming year. And it doesn't even matter really if the team's bad, just because the team's going to be filled if it's half off. That's a guarantee. Everyone's going to be wanting to take a half off team, especially it doesn't really matter if you go out and start a rebuild. You can go and really just make a solid investment. Whereas if you have to pay your full league dues, there's no incentive for anyone to join a bad dispersal draft. So now let's get into, you already have your league set up. You're not even a commissioner. You're just a player of the league. We're going to go in the most essential things. I'm not going to get into some super deep strategy right now. We have a ton of videos like that, but this is what I do to prepare for a startup draft. And I know I've been in a ton of startup drafts this offseason. I've been in about 10, including most of them have been the flock leagues. I joined one of Scott's leagues. We just drafted last night, but what you need to do, first off, you need to go and read the rules. I cannot tell you. I mean, I commish all these leagues. I cannot tell you how many leagues I have started or I have played in that we're 3 rounds in and someone goes, wait, this is Superflex? Wait, what? How many players did we start? And they have no concept, and they claim that they would have done something completely different. It happens almost every single draft. It hasn't happened in any of the flock drafts just because I made that video describing each and every rule setting, and I make everyone watch it before we start the league. And that's something that you can do if you're a commissioner. You can make everyone send you a message saying, yes, I have read the rules. And this kind of ensures that if someone comes out and goes, oh, I didn't know that, I need my dues back, we need to restart, you're like, hey man, you said you read the rules. Like that's an essential requirement to be a part of a league. And not only reading the rules are important, but you need to fully understand them. You need to understand how the rules are going to impact your strategy, because I feel like that's my biggest strength as a Dynasty player. And Scott and I talk about this all the time. What you can't just go in and take a vanilla PPR 12-team Superflex strategy and use that in every single draft, especially with, say, the draft is Devi. So if you don't know what Devi is a setting that you can essentially draft college players, and you have a limited amount that you can draft, and you can hold them onto your roster until they get to the NFL. So for this most recent startup, we had rookie/Devi picks in the startup draft, and they were extremely more valuable than they would have been if they were just rookie picks, because there's Trevor Lawrence, there's Justin Fields, there's Travis Etienne, there's Chuba Hubbard, there's Jamar Chase. There are all these top players that are also going to be included in the draft. So if you're drafting like the 110 of a rookie pick compared to this league, that's like the 205. So you have to understand these different rule settings. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, guys. Miley's going crazy. But at the same time, you have to try to implement them and create a strategy based on them. And a couple rule settings that you need to make sure you understand. You need to make sure you understand the starting lineup requirements. This pretty much dictates how I play every single league. If I go in there and see, oh shit, I have to start 2 running backs every week and I have to start 3 wide receivers, that's going to be a completely different strategy. Whereas if I just go in and I go, oh, I only have to start 1 of every position and the rest are flex spots, okay, let me do what I want to do. It's completely different. Your first round pick, your second round pick, they're all going to be different. And I can, if you're interested, if you're on Patreon, shoot me a message and I can get into specifics of how your league will affect the strategy going into it. Every league's different, so I can't give you a one-to-one example. I can give you an example, like in Scott's league that he just created. It's a points per carry league, and there are about 8 flex spots. So what am I doing in that league? My first 3 or 4 picks were all running backs, and I was drafting running backs that I don't even like. I drafted Dalvin Cook just because of the league settings. And this is something you have to understand. And let's get into that points per carry setting, because there are a lot of interesting scoring formats that people may not be familiar with. And I have a solution that really is not foolproof, but this is exactly what I do if I'm going and I look at a scoring format that I've never played in before. Let's just say like points per first down, a weird tight end premium, a weird points per carry, tiered PPR, whatever it is. This is how you can kind of gauge value and to kind of determine where you want to pick your spots. You can go in, what I do is I create an Excel spreadsheet, then I break down the positions. I do them in groups of 6. So I'll do quarterbacks 1 through 6, quarterbacks 7 through 12, and so on until I get to all starting quarterbacks in the league. I'll do the same thing for running backs until about 50 of them. Do the same thing for wide receivers until about 80. Same thing for tight ends until about 30. So what this does is you're going to take those groups of 6 and you're going to average how many points per game they got based on their finish in 2019. And you're going to map that average and you're going to see where the sharp fall-offs are. So for instance, in a tight end premium league, if you do this mapping, you'll see, after the top 6 tight ends, there's a 4-point per game drop. I mean, that is massive. I need to go in there and make sure I get one of those top tight ends. Whereas if you look at the wide receiver position and go, if I miss out on a top 6 wide receiver, it's only a 2-point drop off to the next group. So I can wait on that position and I can go in later and just try to stack up as many as I can. And if you use this little format, it's just so easy to have a basic understanding of your league settings. Obviously, you're going to have to go in and look at the scoring in a little more detail. But besides that, that's pretty much how you can get started while evaluating your league scoring. Lastly, I'm going to say this: don't make individual rankings. Make predictions of how you think the draft are going to go. Don't look strictly off ADP. You can look at if you're going to look at a good set of ADP. I'd say the only ADP that would ever be worth looking at, y'all know my rant in the Discord the other day with everyone sends ADP that is completely bogus. Like nobody's ever drafting like that. I mean, there's ADP lists that have Aaron Jones as a top 5 running back, just things that are ridiculous. I would say the closest one to being accurate is dynastyleaguefootball.com. It does cost like $60 a year, and at the same time, it's not even that accurate. So I wouldn't recommend. I mean, I don't think I would recommend paying for a subscription. I don't, but I know a lot of people do, and that's probably the best there is, just because ADP is not a good source. So what if I were you? I would do is I would go join the Discord and actually look at, we have a tab called drafts with buy-ins, and every draft that I'm in, I post a link to it, and these are real drafts that cost people money to do, not just mock drafts. And you can kind of sort by position and look at about what player ranges, what picks players go at. And so you're going to make these predictions of how you think your draft is going to go, kind of create just a rough draft of where you think the ADP is going to be, where you think Dalvin Cook's going to go. Say Dalvin Cook's a target player. So just say you have him as your RB5, but you expect him to go at RB9 and you expect him to go at the beginning of the 3rd round instead of the beginning of the 2nd round. Instead of just drafting off your own rankings and taking him there, this is going to allow you the flexibility to trade back, possibly pick up more value, and still get the player that you want. So I hope this video helped. Sorry it was all over the place. Y'all know I'm a little out of my element, but hopefully we'll get back into it soon, and have a great day, guys.